Hi guys, I'm Devansh, and for this talk, there's a few things that you should know about me. Number one, I started writing and have never stopped since. Number two, I'm 18, a humongous Swiftie, an even bigger bibliophile, and quite nice, at least most of the times. And number three is that I have been through some things that have made me want to never get back up again. Seems pretty normal, right? That's because it is. I'm sure all of us have been through some accidents or times that have left deep scars or wounds. For some, it may be physical. For others, maybe emotional or psychological, or even financial at times. I myself have been through some times that have left some wounds that I've tried my best to fill, like bullying, being the target of rumors, betrayal, social pressure, and conforming to the society, upholding my grades, of course, because every student can relate to that, and a few more things. Yet, I'm here giving this talk in front of all of you. If I recall well, my childhood has been rather eventful, to say the least. Some of the most vivid memories being of hospitals, clinic visits, shattering glass tables, and not in the fun and filmy way, and, well, drinking Mortein. FYI, it seemed like fun, and no, I do not remember the taste. I was 2. One of such events was in 8th grade, right on the day after summer vacations. Dad was dropping me to school, like normally. And lo and behold, I end up with 3 ankle fractures. It was a scooter skidding incident, and I was on the bed for 2 more months. A normal person would be happy in this extension of their vacations, but not me. See, this accident tore apart a dream of mine, something I still regret not pursuing after I healed. That being swimming, something I was pretty good at, and also something I was trying out for at the end of that particular week. But these 2 months on bed also introduced me to a whole new world of opportunities and imagination. That being writing. I've been an avid reader for as long as I can remember. I love everything from fantasy to tragedy to mystery. So I figured, why not? Just maybe start writing. And that's the spark that turned my life over completely. Then I worked on my writing and my speaking skills, refining them with every coming day until I was participating in English Olympiads, getting gold medals, going for debate and spelling competitions, and writing articles. Then I wrote my first poem, something that I'm very proud of, thank you very much. It was titled The Touch of Death. Please don't start picturing me as a goth kid. It's just that the concept of death was too shattering for younger me. So I turned it into a breeze of wind, and thus I took my first steps to becoming a writer. Then I started getting more and more into the world of storytelling and conversation. I participated in 3 MUNs and chaired 3 others, and organized TEDx events like this one, worked on school events and interviews. And by this time, I was in the 11th grade. During these things as well, however, I took what I call a leap of faith in starting a school newspaper from scratch. With the help of a few more people, I started this newspaper as a completely student-led initiative with a team of 79 diligent, hardworking, and amazingly talented people with 21 editions when my tenure came to an end. It was something that I loved doing from the bottom of my heart. Creating a change and also a platform for others to try out new stuff made me have faith that what I was doing was correct. This in turn helped me branch out into creating my most prized possession, a book series, or at least the outline of one. See, ideas like mine are what drive our lives. Ideas that make us get up in the morning and work for achieving them. And such ideas, or sparks, as I like to call them, need not be momentary or short lived. Long term plans also stem from a single thought. That's why it's important for all of us to have a spark or a eureka moment. It's okay for it to be very small and childish. Hey, at least it's a start. Okay, enough about me. Now, a question most of you would probably have is, how do I discover or work on my spark? Don't worry, dear friend. That's exactly what I'll be talking about. I personally love systematic methods, like step-by-step procedures and all, but that's kind of subjective. Nevertheless, I'll be making a roadmap to explain what you have to do to reach your final goal, what kinds of precautions and primary research would be required and the sort. I hope all of you are ready. I request you to take out a notepad or maybe even your phone and write down the word PRAISET in capitals. I'll spell it out for you. PRAISET. It's an acronym. Don't worry, I'll be explaining it. I hope you've got an idea that you'll be stemming from, but even if you don't, use this acronym that I will just explain for starting brand new on a new spark before taking any concrete steps towards it, or maybe even refining something you've already begun working on. Now, P is precautions. There's a reason why we have them in every science experiment known to mankind. The reason is that you have to be careful. A spark is a very tiny idea or a fragile concept that has to be handled carefully. Here's what you should remember in this point. Precautions here means what impact will this spark's final evolution have on your life and the lives of those around you? Will it make it or break it, so to say? Even though I just said to think about others here, firstly, maybe think about your own self. As they say on airplanes, wear your own oxygen mask before trying to help others. Try understanding its impact on your life and your future and whether you are ready to take that risk or not. Next, we come to R, that is research, which is also a scientific measure, not surprisingly though. Research is crucial and essential for any good idea to become a reality. I recommend you to research well about career prospects, longevity, and the overall trend of your spark's eventual outcome. This will come in quite handy. Trust me, I learned the hard way. Then we have A, which is divided into two portions. Firstly, aptitude. Now that you have an idea of your plan, maybe check whether you can actually go through with it, or do you have to rethink your steps. Take some help from your parents and friends. People are better judges than you might think. Aptitude here describes your capability of pursuing this plan. Like, for an example, I have an aptitude of psychology and writing. Then I'd probably not do well as a mathematician. So try taking an aptitude test, maybe. Truthfully, might I add it. Or if you fancy introspection, then make a list of things that you're really good at, like amazingly brilliant at, like reading, maths, writing, languages, emotions, etc. Then the second portion is pretty simple. Aim. Think of a valid answer to these three questions. Number one, what is your aim for your spark to turn into? Number two, what is your ultimate result from this roadmap? And number three is that what do you actually seek to do here? Their answers will guide you in the correct path. Then I stands for interest and income. It's quite obvious that you have to be a little practical while pursuing something. Now, the most important thing is that your spark should also be something of your interest or something that ignites an interest in leading on that path. Whether or not your spark intrigues you to pursue it is the question. Without interest, honestly, it's as good as any other thing out there in the world. Interest is crucial for actually sticking to the thing in the long run. Now comes a very important factor, something that's a concern for a few of us and almost all of the parents. Income. There could be three different paths on this road. Okay, so path one is high income. This is the path of gold. Like, if what you're trying to pursue yields high income, low distress, and high satisfaction, then this is perfect. Check this factor off immediately. Path two is low income, but high satisfaction, also known as the hiking trail. This will most certainly be difficult. A tip for this road is to perhaps pursue your spark in its early stages as a passion and not necessarily a profession, because that will make the journey easier and you can decide whether to turn it into a full-time job or not in the future. And path three is a dead end, unfortunately. You can travel ahead, but at your own risk. This path would be of low income, low payoff, and a lot of stress. Although there may be interest here, I would personally not recommend this path at all. Almost all sparks would end up on one of these three roads. It's up to you to decide whether you want to go forward or go back to the planning board with modifications or a new spark altogether. Let's move on to S, which is pretty short yet necessary. Structure. Plan a little bit on how you would get started and continue on this path. Like, create an achievable roadmap and a systematic path ahead. For an example, making a storyboard for writing a novel or a blueprint for a building. Make changes here and there and have a plan of action to be followed. Then we have E, which is experience. This one is kind of optional, yet would benefit a lot in continuing forward. Getting a feel of the path ahead would help out, trust me. Like, performing in competitions and stage shows would help out in following a path of theater. Finally, T stands for two things, both relating to time. Honestly, something I still struggle with till date. Time period means the time required for every step and set of steps in the structure, at least an estimate of them. Then comes the test of time. This is also pretty important. The longevity of a career in the spark you've chosen actually makes or breaks the deal. A short-lived career would be of lesser preference as compared to a long-term career in the same field. Like, 25 years as a successful chef is a lot better than 5 years, right? And voila, you have now set a roadmap for the path towards pursuing your spark into a great reality. Don't get disheartened if you cannot check all the factors I just talked about. But try your best to check out as many as you can. After all, these are just ways of simplifying the planning process. This roadmap has worked wonders for me, and I really hope that it will help you out too. Though, if you want to jump head first into an idea, by all means, go ahead. Some great things end up happening as accidents, or their products too. However, if you have followed these steps, the next stage is that you just have to throw yourself out into the world. Take new strides and avenues towards your ultimate result, like attending seminars on topics that may interest you, talking to like-minded people who have similar aspirations and learning together. Or, personally, my favorite, maybe reading books, biographies, and articles by people who have already reached the summit or are getting pretty close to it. It's a tough path ahead, and you'll have to hustle hard, work smart, and put in a lot of efforts and determination. There will be times when you have basically no motivation and will feel like the world is falling apart, like all hell is breaking loose. But there's always a small ray of hope there. And if there isn't one, I'm sorry, but that spark was probably not the best choice for you, anyways. Don't lose hope if you feel like it's not working out. Find out new sparks, new opportunities, for this is an indication to start afresh. Walk ahead, for a new idea, a new journey awaits you. A journey full of thorns and petals. A journey which will be imperfect, and it's up to you to find ways to mend it up. Be proud of all the scars that you see, for it's these scars that show you that you have been hurt and wounded, yet you stood back up again and kept moving on, while healing these wounds as you went onwards. But I know you can do it. Be positive and have faith in yourself, because I do, and you should too. Thank you very much.